Loyalty Beard Care. It's your go-to beard kit. They're committed to making you look your best every day of the week. They offer top-of-the-line ingredients to keep your beard healthy and moisturized, man. If you're, one of those guys, or girls, I want to get your man, their beard right. Loyaltybeardcare.com is where you can purchase all of that. He's got beard moisturizer, beard growth, beard oil. He's got hats, he's got face masks. So hit him up on Instagram as well. Loyalty Beard Care on Instagram.
Took a breather and came back in no time. Put the ball in my possession and it's showtime. I'm taking the last shot, coach, don't mind. I'm a different predicament, so it troubles you. Game clock ticking and I'm coming for the W. One man ain't enough, they gon' have to double two. Get ball shot made, all the fans loving you. Time expired, everybody rushing. Now you done showed them what you about. Try to tell you we was gon' make it without a doubt. Do what they can, I'm already stamping. I be shitting like Kevin Durant. In the game, ate up. When I steps on the floor, I don't waste time. 2 seconds, one shot, I'ma make mine. Hit a 3-pointer on baseline. They want my spot, I'm trying to save mine. So you should move over. 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 You should move over.
What's good, everybody? You now hopping back in the Hoop Narrative Podcast. It's your boy OT again, back with my bro Fred Dro in the building. Mr. Head Coach, man. What's good with you, bro?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Sorry if I sound a little raspy, man. I've been head coach now, voice, so I've been yelling.
Yeah, man, let's get that out the way, man. Shout out. Congrats to my brother, man. New head coach at Cleveland High School in Seattle, Washington. Congrats on that, bro, for sure. How you feeling about that?
Man, I feel good, boss. It's long overdue, a lot of, long grind. The only thing I'm not happy about is they gave me 4 to 5 powerhouses. So, being in that South, I got to see East Side all day, Garfield and Rainier Beach, bro. So,
Everybody listening, when he says that, he's talking about the highly touted Metro Conference out of Seattle, Washington. The Metro Conference has produced a lot of NBA pros. You heard the names he named. He named Garfield High School. It's produced plenty of pros. Rainier Beach High School, we know is the Mr. Pro. They got all the pros. And you didn't say O'Day, right?
Yeah, we got O'Day.
Okay, O'Day High School, who got some pros, got a pro on the way. So, yeah, man, he's talking about a beastie conference, man.
And then Nola Hickman just left Eastside.
Eastside Catholic, yeah. So, some more pros there. A lot of a lot of high Division I athletes out of all these schools, man.
So, hey, that's my welcome to the Metro, I guess, bro.
Yeah, and like you already know, it's a process. So I know you're gonna embrace it. You're gonna take every step with a grain of salt, and you're gonna make the best of it, though, for sure.
You already know. We're gonna get to it, man. We've been working, so I love it.
Yes, sir. Hoop Narrative Podcast, man. Shout out to all of our listeners. You know where to find us. Me and bro wanted to get back in the stew for you guys. We had a couple of guests coming in through here. Last one was Tony Snell. Big shout out to him for coming up on the Hoop Narrative Podcast.
Good time.
We wanted to give you guys our narrative. We give you guys.
When's the last time we got in here, bro?
Yeah, it's been a minute, bro. Yeah, we wanted to give you guys our narrative over what's been going on in the hoop world over the last few months. We ain't been able to do that. We versatile. We can do it both. We like to interview. We like to talk to hoop ourselves.
Come on, man. This is like regular right here.
Exactly. This is what we live for. And, just to get started out, we didn't really get to talk about the NCAA tournament. That went on. And we had some special guests in between that. But me personally, bro, the NCAA tournament that just happened, that was one of the most craziest and bizarre NCAA tournaments I've ever seen. I don't think anybody would have ever guessed the Elite Eight. I don't think anybody would have ever guessed there were so many Pac-12 schools who made the Elite Eight after the Pac-12 was just a snoozer conference once again.
So they always call it one of the worst or Power 5 school conferences.
Yeah, and in no disrespect, because it was not always like that. So over the last 4 or 5 years though, it kind of has, and the Pac-12 will usually get like 4 to 5 teams that make the NCAA tournament, and they all at least maybe one or two will make the Sweet 16, and it's over after that. The Pac-12 had what 3 teams make the Elite Eight this year?
Mm-hmm. Oregon State,
UCLA.
Who was the last one?
And I think Oregon. No, not Oregon. They made the Sweet 16, and USC.
Yep, USC.
And we also the Pac-12 had one team make the the Final Four this year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the first thing. We're gonna put a halt right there. We're gonna stop right here and talk about that.
Yeah,
bro. If I would have told you that 4 teams was gonna make the Elite Eight from the Pac-12, what would you have thought? Or 3? What would you have thought?
Man, I don't know, bro. I definitely wouldn't have. I would have been like, bro, you're tripping. Come on now. And I'm even, I'm just because I'm a West Coast dude. Seattle grew up on UW. I'm Pac-10, Pac-12. So, but still, it hasn't been that. But I definitely think it was good. One of the things that I was noticing as I was watching, and I want you to tell me how you feel about this, bro. I just felt like a lot of teams aren't used to seeing that West Coast skill where you're seeing the 5-man come out and shoot and pass and be able to, you know what I mean? Like, I just think a lot of teams weren't used to seeing that because it's not just a couple guys. Like, it's West Coast. We try to have everybody skilled at all positions. And I just want you to tell me what you think on that. Because when I was watching, I feel like just teams aren't used to seeing everyone being skilled up. Like on the West Coast, we're shooting, we're fast. The pace is faster. How you feel on that?
I mean, a lot of shooters come out of the West Coast, and what's most important than anything in basketball period now is spreading the floor and be able to shoot the ball. And then I thought, especially when it came to like UCLA, Oregon State, guard play, the guards that were able to do multiple things, was able to get into the paint, cause havoc, spread the floor, create for themselves, and able to play make. Not saying that there wasn't other teams outside the West Coast that didn't have that, but just like you said, also too, you also had bigs like Evan Mobley who could spread the floor. Yeah. And we're not just talking about West Coast teams. You also have guys like Gonzaga with Timmy who can also stretch the floor and make plays too as well, inside and out. The West Coast is definitely a different brand of basketball, and Evan Mobley to start there is. We were just talking about it just a little bit ago. He's the prototypical big in today's NBA. Yeah. A guy who is skilled on the offensive end, but also a perennial rim protector on the defensive end as well, who's mobile. He fits that whole mold, and that's the reason why.
Can guard some switches.
Exactly. Yeah, he can get out and guard the switch as well, which is very vital. And he was definitely big. Him and his brother were definitely big on why they got to the Elite Eight, and they ran into some guys in Gonzaga.
Yeah, come on, man.
And then, like I said, I was mostly shocked with UCLA though, bro. Like they made a Final Four run, and they beat some guys to get there.
Yeah, they did.
And
I was extremely happy with those guys and everything that Mick Cronin did. And I know there was a lot of flack for him getting a job being, East Coast guy coming over to the West Coast. Could he adapt? Could he recruit and get people there? But clearly you see he got the job and they started rolling.
Yeah, and like I said, very well so far. Like, where they're at. I mean, nobody thought that UCLA out of all those Pac-12 teams would have gotten where they were. And they had a pretty solid Pac-12 season. But the Cinderella of the whole tournament was Oregon State. We were just talking. You was trying to figure out how they even got in the tournament, and they made that Cinderella run of sweeping out, winning every game in the NCAA tournament, winning the championship. And like I said, it was funny on my other radio show that I'm with, Lidline Sports. Shout out to Corky Granville Emerson. It's funny, we talked about that first round matchup with Oregon State. I can't remember who they were playing. But I asked him if, they're the Cinderella team before he answered the question.
Yeah.
And he blew straight through them and was like, nah, like they done. Like this is at Liberty. They played no, they didn't play Liberty. That was Oklahoma State. Oh man. I'm gonna figure it out. But they played Tennessee.
Tennessee. Oh, they did.
Bruce Pearl. Even, I thought Tennessee was going to win.
Pearl's at Auburn. Who's at Tennessee? Rick Barnes, the old
Rick
Texas
Barnes. Coach. No, not Rick Barnes. Bruce Pearl is at Tennessee now. No, Bruce Pearl's at Auburn.
Auburn. Yep.
So Rick Barnes might still be at Tennessee. You're right. That's my fault.
Yep. Left Texas and went to Tennessee.
Yep. And so, I definitely thought, Tennessee was going to win, but I asked, possibly was this a Cinderella team? Because, usually teams going into the tournament, especially in their nature of like, the only way that they're getting in is they win their conference championship.
Have to, even to have a chance. Yep.
And so you're kind of playing with house money now at that point. And not only that, they locked in defensively for 3 straight games against Tennessee, held them to 56 points. And then they played Oklahoma State, who averages above like in the high 70s, held them to 70 points and scored 80 as well. And they cruised. Now it's against Cade Cunningham, who most likely will go number 1 in the draft here in July. Agreed. And then they played Loyola Chicago, who was kind of not necessarily Cinderella mode, but a lot of guys thought that they were going to make the
they were hot offensively as well.
Yeah, they were. And, we're talking about this now. I forgot 2 teams made the Final Four. Oregon State did make the Final Four.
Yep, they did.
But they held Loyola Chicago to 58 points. And then, no, they made the Elite Eight. I apologize. They lost to Houston. So, yeah. But even then, when they played Houston.
County jail.
Yeah, exactly. Out toughed them, out physical them. That was a different type of brand of basketball that, that Oregon State wasn't used to, but still held them to 67 points.
Yeah.
So just to see that run that Oregon State made was that was dope to see. And the Pac-12, man, to see 2 teams or 1 team make the Final Four and like 3 teams make the Elite Eight. That's great. But what everybody wants to hear is what everybody knew what was going to happen when it comes to who was going to make the championship. Yeah. And ever since back early in the season when the game got canceled between Gonzaga and Baylor,
that's what people wanted to see.
That's what everybody wanted to see. There was no way around it. Everybody wanted to see Imano. A lot of people thought that, including me, that Gonzaga was by far the number 1 team in the nation. And I thought Baylor was somewhat of a distant second. But nonetheless, though, Baylor was by far the second best team in college basketball.
And I knew that still can get you to the championship. So
exactly. Exactly. They even talking about that. The coach at Baylor is
Scott Drew.
Scott Drew took over this program when they were the bottom of the barrel. Dang near got handed a death penalty after everything that went on at Baylor.
That was tough, man.
Yeah. And he turned that program. Yeah, dug them out of a hole.
Seriously.
And not only that, turned them now into probably is going to be a perennial and possibly I think that they can make a run and be one of the greater teams in the Big 12 over the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so see that them get there. And then, on the other end, you got Gonzaga, who's been this heralded, storied program, but could not finish could not finish at all. Farthest they got was finally to the national championship when they lost in North Carolina. But, before that, us growing up, Fred, we didn't see Gonzaga made out the Sweet 16. And that was one of the things that we've always heard about with Gonzaga is all this talent. They do everything up in their conference. What conference are they in?
The WCC.
Yeah, the WCC. And, they dog that conference every year, and then they come in the tournament and play some guys, and they don't last. But now this year, they first of all, Mark Few went and got a real life pro, a freshman for one of the first times, and got Jalen Suggs, and he knew that he had to promise Jalen Suggs that he had a schedule to back just the non-conference schedule to back just the WCC, and they did. And everybody they played on the non-conference schedule this year, they beat them by at least double digits. And that's Iowa, Kansas, all those guys. They had no competition all year.
Yep.
So,
and watching them too, I liked. I feel like ever since they got past that Sweet 16 and got to that championship versus North Carolina with Nigel and those guys, I just feel like, I was talking to my guy D Brooks about this, but I feel like Mark Few realized that he had to recruit for this point of the season. You know what I mean? Like he already knew I'm gonna win the WCC, I'm gonna win the conference championship, but how can I be effective in the Sweet 16, in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four, in the championship, and possibly win it? Getting guys in the transfer portal and some of the best high school guys, and then you get guys like Jalen Suggs.
And I think. Go ahead, bro.
No, you good. Go ahead. I was finishing. I was just saying that I think guys like that, they definitely help get into that point and having a chance to win it as well. So
I feel like he's been knocking at the door when it comes to like trying to get like a top prospect over the last 5 years. It just hasn't fallen his way. And luckily he's always been a good overseas recruit when it comes to Canada overseas, and then, getting the guys in the woodworks, and then Eastern Washington, he always recruited well over there. Yeah, you're right. We saw in the tournament this year, the big name is what showed out. And no disrespect to Corey Kispert, but, he didn't have a good tournament run. And he's been their best player over the last 2-3 years. So you're right. Just guys like Jalen Suggs, who's been on a national level for the last 3 years of his high school career, he's seen this before. And that shot he hit in the Final Four is exactly like why you go and get players like that. That's why you see Coach Cal night in and night out recruiting big time freshmen. That's why you see everybody following suit, and Coach K and Roy Williams.
Coach K caught on. He was like, "Hey man, if I don't get on the train, I'm gonna get left behind."
Yeah. But there is a balance though too with it as well. That's why you see a lot of those guys now, like Coach Cal, they go and get transfers now as well. It's hard in today's college basketball to try to win with just all freshmen. It's not like when Anthony Davis and all those guys, I would say the pioneers of the one and done guys, I will say that the talent isn't there like it used to be.
Right.
You have to mix in now.
Yeah. Some older guys with some elite younger guys.
Yeah. You don't like the Anthony Davises and all those are once in lifetime guys and players like that. I said Zion Williamson didn't even make it out the Sweet 16. You have to be able to balance out a roster in college basketball. It's hard to win with just a whole bunch of freshmen. When Coach Cal did it that year, that's why he keeps continuing to get guys like that. It's like I said, that's not something you won't see in a while. And I think Duke has done it before when they had Jaleel Okafor, and I think those guys won the NCAA tournament. I could be wrong.
Did they win? I think they did. Yeah. Quinn Cook and those guys senior year.
Yeah, and Jaleel Okafor was a freshman, I believe.
Yeah, you might have to double check that.
Or maybe it was one of those. We'll fact check this if you're listening. I could be wrong. But to the championship, Baylor, Gonzaga ran into. I mean, they called themselves Bulldogs, but they ran into pit bulls, and they ran into some real dudes, some real physical dudes, type of brand of basketball that they don't get to see that often because playing in the WCC. But that's Big 12 basketball, and they also got players on that team who can go too. Were you surprised by that outcome?
Man, bro, for a minute I was like, I was thinking Gonzaga was going to win, but as it got closer to the game, I started to come towards my senses, and I was just like, there's just a difference when you're used to playing at, the level that you need to play at, what I mean? Like, and no knock to Gonzaga, because regardless of the WCC, they play an elite non-conference schedule. And even in the NCAA tournament, they played some very, very good teams, you know what I mean? But I just think those guys were that much bigger, that much stronger, that much more athletic, that much skilled. In some positions, guys weren't as skilled, but they were bigger, stronger, and faster. It was just, when you have a well-oiled machine, and those guys were just hungry, bro. And a lot of people bring up the kids that stayed in the nice area versus the kids that stayed in the rugged area, but that's kind of what it looked like. When you go to the park, you see the kind of nice kids playing versus the rugged kids, and it's one of those like, you guys ain't supposed to be out here.
Facts.
And that's kind of what it looked like, bro. I don't know. Tell me how you feel.
I was about to say, I don't know if you remember, I'm trying to think, but we was like in 5th grade, 6th grade, one of those two. And like I said, Rotary AAU program, powerhouse. We went to Garfield Community Center and played Garfield Community Center, Boys and Girls Club, and got our asses torn up by a regular community center team. They had some goers, but just like you said, these are your neighborhood guys who were just hooping.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like. I said, you had some dogs on Baylor, and not only, like I said, they got house on the offensive glass. They were just getting outworked.
Don't be mistaken. Gonzaga got some dudes too.
They do.
Yeah, that's why, but it was just, I don't know, bro. Like, you're right. It was just a difference.
And then you had a guy like I said, Davion Mitchell went from, I don't know, possibly maybe he was an end of first round talent.
Yeah. Made himself some money, huh?
The dude is now being looked at as being a top 10 player. And rightfully so. That man can hoop.
Yeah, for real.
So, yeah, that
change development for those guys was definitely loud for Davion Mitchell, Jared Butler, even the tall white guy with the Adam Morrison stash. He was.
Oh, he's nice.
6'9", can handle it, can shoot it, play make. Jesus, bro. Mark Vital
came back for this exact reason.
Yeah, the light-skinned guy, I can't remember his name, but
the shooter.
Yeah, number 31. It was just like,
they got guys.
Yeah, it was just like, and they were playing matchups too. Like, our guys are better than yours, pick and roll, and we know you can't guard us, so let's
kind of like a pro game. Kind of play pro basketball.
When you watch the finals and you see LeBron looking for who's the weak link, like, come here.
Yeah,
it literally what it was looking like. Like, our guys are better. We're just gonna find the matchup and play off that.
And that's what happened. And even with Gonzaga, as bad as Gonzaga played in the first half, there was only down 10.
Yeah.
And so you thought, they did have a chance, and Baylor blew it back open again, and that's all she said. But starting college basketball, we always knew who the best two teams in college basketball was, and that was Gonzaga and Baylor.
Yeah.
Always, consistently. Yeah. Even when Baylor had to go not play for a week because of COVID and came and lost to Kansas, like I said, after not playing for 2 weeks or a week or whatever, you come back and you're playing Kansas, hot Kansas at that point, who got it going. Yeah. I don't think –
off rhythm and feels.
Exactly. So, in the NCAA, we got what we want. And now with the season ending – and, the NCAA made that rule that pretty much if you want to come back for your eligibility, you can, and not lose this last year. We are seeing the craziest transfer portal we have seen ever.
Because mostly all the kids are going to get cleared because of COVID. If you transfer, so everybody's just
all over the place. And, get a little local here. Yeah. We've seen about 5 or 6 names want to transfer out of UW.
Mm-hmm.
And UW, talking about the University of Washington Huskies, they had one of the worst seasons. I'm thinking in the last 10 years, 15 years for sure.
Yeah, it might be ever. Not sure. But I'm almost certain
they're having the worst years. And then I was just reading how oh man, I can't think of the dude's name. One of the bigs from California on the team, Hamir Wright. He's transferring.
Where is he from? Is he from New York? Is he from New York?
New York. Yeah, he's from New York. My fault. But
dang, I didn't even know he transferred to that. He transferred.
Yeah, and I read that he went on I think it was a podcast or a radio show and I can't think of the name of the radio show, but he was talking about that, his role was different than what he was promised.
Wow.
And, this whole question around the town is, should UW get rid of Mike Hopkins? Why hasn't the recruiting in state been that well? And then also, we've heard a lot of names around Seattle, a lot of Washington guys who played at other schools are transferring as well. Terrell Brown Jr., he transferred from Arizona, already committed to UW. We now have
real nice.
Yeah, it is real nice. Dejon Davis, John out of Stanford has put his name into the portal. Mm-hmm. Who's some other names?
Man, we got Emmett Matthews,
from West Virginia.
Yep, West Virginia. David Jenkins, he signed to Utah, but another kid in the portal. I mean, you could just keep on going, man. There's the kid over at Utah State. I can't even remember his name. Alfonso. Mm-hmm. He's in the transfer portal. The kid that was at Houston, I can't remember his name. It's a lot of kids, bro. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of kids. You almost could start a team with Washington guys in regards to the transfer portal.
And I was just about to say that.
Not even listing the Washington guys, Nate Pryor, Marcus Sahonis, you know what I mean? Eric Stevenson, who committed to University of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to ask all the guys that weren't at UW who are transferring. Somebody told me or was saying the last time UW was good is because they had a whole bunch of hometown guys. Mm-hmm. So could you see a potential of Terrell Brown, Dejon Davis, Emmett Matthews? Can you see all those guys? There's a lot of room at UW right now.
I could, bro. I could. I mean, it's either those guys or the Gonzaga may try to steal somebody, or even Wazoo. Wazoo's done a great job of getting some guys. You see the Noah Williams and trying to build a pipeline with new Coach Smith. But if I'm UW, they definitely need to be trying to pull the trigger and keep a couple of those guys, because that instantly makes you better. And if not, UW, those kids will possibly go to the Pac-12, which is a hot conference right now. Another kid, not to cut you off. I just want to name one more kid that we forgot, Tari Eason also as well from Cincinnati.
Yeah, that would be big if UW.
Yeah, he's in the transfer portal as well, bro, which would be a great get for UW. So that's a lot of kids, a lot of names.
And I just think also, even if UW can get like 2 to 3 of those guys, it just looks good it looks good for the city as well again. Like, I feel like UW outside of, Jaden McDaniels has missed on a lot of big time prospects out of UW. So that'll definitely look good so some of these kids coming up can see a lot of hometown faces wearing purple and gold.
And T. Brown will help, bro, because
for sure.
He's kind of like a staple for a lot of these kids. So and they've watched him grow up and what he's put in and did. So that would definitely help.
For sure. And I don't put anything against, I never tripped about like guys wanting to transfer. Everybody has different situations. Everybody's trying to find the right niche.
Right.
A lot of people, get on kids for saying they run or, don't try to make the best of their situation. You're only given 4, possibly 5 years of eligibility to a lot of these guys go to college basketball looking to try to play at the next level. And you're right. Not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys just also want to play. Like everybody just going to college basketball just looking for the free ride. A lot of these guys are trying to develop and, play basketball at the high level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, just like Hamir Wright said, a lot of these college coaches, they promise something that they don't give on the other end as well. And I'm not saying it's always, just on the coach. A lot of these kids get to these schools and don't grind as well. And some of these kids need a wake-up call, and that's sometimes why they end up in the transfer portal as well. So, but I think this year it's just been such a wacky year. And, I think a lot of kids want to use that extra year and, put themselves in a better situation. I think for John, I think it'd be great to see him at UW for sure.
I was about to say, clearly you trying to see little bro John at UW. That's the second time you said that.
Man, yeah, I think that'd be really cool. And you see a lot of kids and they try to go up a level when it comes to like playing at a bigger conference. And kids, you got to understand, fit is most important about everything. You can play anybody people at the highest level, they will find you.
Yeah.
You don't got to worry about being on the top ESPN and the SEC on these big programs and battling with top 25 recruits and guys that's been there for 3 years. If you're not ready for
that or getting an opportunity, it won't matter.
Yeah, it won't matter.
When they come, it won't be for you.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting no opportunity. Go where you can play, go where you can fit. And yes, they are still at least a decent program as well. So, yeah. Hoop Narrative Podcast, man. We just breaking down a lot of the hoop that's been going on around here. You already know where you can find us at. YouTube, video popping. Podcast is on all podcast programs when it comes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. What's the Anchor?
Anchor, yep. Radio, what is it? Radiocast, yep.
Radiocast, okay. And then like Overcast,
Public, all types of them, man.
Also, shout out. We always got to shout out Colorcast for the opportunities they give us and their app and what they bring to the sports world. Being able to broadcast yourself a sports game, I think that's pretty dope.
We got to get back on there too, bro.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's crazy. Dude just actually hit us up today. So, yeah, I was telling him that, man, definitely. Got to get back into that. Also, I see what you're wearing, too, while we out here. Shout out to 19th and Spruce, man.
Oh, man. Shout out
19th and Spruce clothing.
Man. This is one of the first things that came out. But
okay,
we got some new joints that just came out, man. We're going to get our hands on them. He's already telling me. He got to get them to us so we can wear them for our episode.
Yeah, I need to be real fly in that, man.
Yeah, bro.
Shout out 19
black ones and the white ones. So
okay. Shout out 19 Spruce Clothing, man. If you're looking up for that nice little hoop kind of urban gear, man, 19th and Spruce Instagram, you can find him. They got some dope stuff on there, man. Before we get off this college stuff, though, real quick. I'm going to throw a question at you.
Talk to me.
So, it's about that time. We're hearing the names. Who's going to the draft? Who's going to go to the draft and not take an agent? Who's going to play the game? But the real question is, as of right now, if the draft was tomorrow and you're the GM, bro, who are you taking number one and why?
CC, no email, but I'm going with my boy Cade Cunningham, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, I love Evan Mobley. You know what I mean? For me, I'm not gonna say 3 guys. I'm gonna just say 2. And Evan Mobley, he's who I think potentially could be the second pick. But we always talk about this, bro. A big being, the center of your team. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not a Jokic or a Joel Embiid type of dude where you're gonna run your offense through. Right now, I think he may develop into that, but right now he's more of a defensive asset for you right now. So I feel like a guy like Cade Cunningham, who can have more of an impact on the game at the guard position, I definitely think he's the guy that's ready to come in right away and have the biggest impact on any franchise. So he's my number 1 pick, bro. How about you? Talk to me.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham for a lot of reasons you just said, and I think the main reason why I'm taking Cade Cunningham is, like I said, he fits the mold of today's NBA, being able to have the ball in his hands, play make for himself, for others, ISO score, can create off the dribble, can spread the floor, can finish around the rim, athletic, big guard. Which I think is very vital in today's NBA. There's just no way you pass up on a PTPer like that.
Multiple positions.
Mm-hmm. And, like with these G League guys, I really do wish – I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that. I don't know how I felt about that move yet. We got to see a few games. It still had a G League vibe to it. And I think what we learned over watching the NCAA tournament is just nothing beats that environment. Nothing beats like nothing has been able to equal up to that. Now, yes, I said granted they got paid and all that. That's real important to get your cheese out the way. But I can't say like I'm taking Jalen Green. I didn't get really a good feel on him.
Yeah.
And I think he had a solid G League run.
About the people, I was getting ready to say, how do you feel about the people that's going to say, "Oh, you went and got 500,000. That's better than playing in the," like, how do you feel about that? You were kind of already touching on this.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, none of them really raised their draft stock, which I think is that's where the money comes
if you're
that's
GM,
where the money comes from.
Those couple G League games, if you're a GM, you're really asking yourself, like, did it show me enough over a full season of Cade Cunningham?
And then, like I said, that could be a lot to do because you're playing better competition. Yeah. But Cade Cunningham was, like I said, was a man amongst boys where he stood out more than than every player who's about to go into the draft this year. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, like in the combine, how Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga, who is another possible top 10 prospect, how those guys measure up. As of right now, like I said, just seeing Cade Cunningham play on that highest of levels, the NCAA tournament and conference tournaments are one of the most watched things in basketball sports. Yeah. And see him pretty much live up to the moment until they lost to Oregon State for the most part. Like I said, that's all the credit to Oregon State. They did a very good job defensively on him. But like I said, you always talk about most importantly, can you lead me to wins? Oklahoma State's not that great of a team outside of Cade Cunningham. So, and
he did everything that he could to lift that team up. And
yeah, I was gonna say too, when you usually see like top guys go to like smaller schools like that, like Ben Simmons goes to LSU, doesn't even make the tournament. I can't think off the top of my head, but I know there's been a lot of guys who are top tier prospects go to these like somewhat not as big of schools and they don't win. Cade Cunningham won as well. I think that's what's most impressive than anything out of me is they won. Second half of the Big 12 season, they locked in.
Yeah, and he got big wins.
Yeah, big wins. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard not to take Cade Cunningham. Evan Mobley is a freak of nature, skilled, and I think should be the number 2 pick. But I won't be surprised if Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga goes as well. He has a total offensive package. He's an athlete. He can create for himself as well and spread the floor. I think he's a really good two-way player. He can guard. And then, like I said, you got the players like Jonathan Kuminga, who has all the talent in the world and is I think a big potential player. He can really be an elite basketball player if he puts it all together.
Yeah, that's size. Yeah, bro. When you look at the size and the versatility, bro, that's key nowadays, bro.
I will say this is gonna be a good draft. This is gonna be a good draft.
We can find some dudes and some hidden gems.
Yeah, seriously. Like I said, you got even guys who can be just really good really good role players. Guys like Corey Kispert, players like that who can fill roles in. There's guys. Although I feel like this will be the first draft where you have a crop of guys who fit today's NBA.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I feel like. This is that first class that you will see. Talking about the NBA. After we get into this quick ad, we're gonna hop right into that, man. We can't talk no hoop. We can't do no narratives. We're not talking big boy basketball, man.
Come on, man. You already know we ain't hoop narrative without the league. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, facts. So we're gonna go to a quick ad, man. And when we get back, man, we're gonna talk until some good hoop narratives in the NBA, man. Hoop narrative, man. Right after this ad.
You should move over. You should move over. You should move over.
What's happening, y'all? Hoop Narrative Podcast. It's your bro.
Building.
Man, you already know what it is. Your boy OT, man. Still with my bro Fred Joe in the building. Like I said earlier, you can catch us on all streams, all podcasts, YouTube as well, Google, Apple Play, Anchor. Shout out. Platforms. Yeah, man. Follow all of them. Instagram, Twitter. Follow Hoop_narrative for those platforms. And everybody who has been following, who has subscribed, man, a shout out to y'all. We went and grown where we're at without y'all. We definitely, man, we got some more special guests coming through, as you already know.
Yes, stay tuned. Man.
Yeah, the list is getting long. We got a waiting list coming up, so, man. So definitely get ready for that as well. But like we was talking before, we was getting into some college hoop. But now we talking big boy basketball, man. A lot of narratives going on over the last time we talked basketball, bro. We in the second half. What would you say?
I said, let's see which narrative you're gonna start with.
Man, I would say it's been a minute. I mean, we got the second half of the season rolling. Starting out with, for me, man. So where we're at right now, the Utah Jazz and I think the Philadelphia 76ers actually might now be the Brooklyn Nets are number one in their conferences respectively. And I'm going to check that right now. Philadelphia and Brooklyn are tied for first, and Utah is still first. If you would have asked me at the beginning of this season if the Utah Jazz was going to be number one in the West with the Lakers, the Clippers, the Denver Nuggets, teams like that, I would have looked at you and laughed, bro. And they have figured it out offensively. They've always been a great defensive team, but they have figured out offensively. Number one 3-point shooting team, playing at a great pace. And do we believe in them?
Oh man!
Right now, sitting at 41-14. Do we believe in them, though?
I want to believe in them, but I really don't. I'm sorry. I really don't. I love Quinn Snyder. I love Donovan Mitchell and everything that they're standing for. I love the pace that they're playing at. More threes, ball movement. But I don't know. I just don't believe in it. I just don't. I don't know how long they can sustain it. And I haven't seen it, sustainable in the playoffs. So, we'll see, bro. Donovan Mitchell's raised his level up.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Rudy Gobert's, people have made fun of him, but he gets paid well for what he does. But I don't know. You're hoping Donovan Mitchell wills the team and other guys just play well. Like they don't really have a second star, like it's I don't know.
That's what I was getting to. I think, to me, the most important for them would be the in-betweens. It's the Bogdanoviches, the Mike Conleys, the Joe Ingles. I think all those players are going to be so pivotal for, how far these Utah Jazz can get. Yeah. I think we'll see Donovan Mitchell take his game to the next level. We saw it in the bubble. I think this is something right now, the man is hooping. I think he's averaging like 40 over the last 3 games. I think it definitely will be the middleman to bridge that gap. I think Rudy Gobert will be a defensive force. I think Mike Conley is going to be so pivotal, bro. This is what they brought him here for. I think he's going to be so pivotal in the playoffs. He has that experience.
Yeah, we need his consistency. He can't have a bad play. He can't, you know what I mean?
No, they don't make it to the Western Conference Finals if Mike Conley does not play well in the playoffs. I agree with you on that. And then on the other side, as of today, Philadelphia 76ers in first place. Do we believe in them?
Oh, boy. Another team. I mean, Doc Rivers is a great coach, but I'm still undecided on those guys as well, man. I still haven't seen them put it together, and I know they're playing well in the regular season, but that is not the same as the playoffs. And until I see them actually do what they're doing in the playoffs consistently, then I will jump on the board. But it's hard for me to just it's hard to win when you don't know how to win. You know what I mean? And they're still trying to figure that part out now. Doc Rivers, let's see if he can get him over that hump. I think he's done a great job regular season wise. Let's see if it translates.
We've seen Joel Embiid go down with a knee injury. That's now becoming a regular every year. And surprisingly, what I do like about them, they actually play really well without Joel Embiid. And I mean, they played well without him before. But to see, like, in the midst of the regular season, how well they were playing, they didn't miss a beat without him. Like I said, I want to see Joel Embiid be consistent in the playoffs.
Agreed.
I want to see Ben Simmons be aggressive in the playoffs, and I want to see Tobias Harris I want him to be consistent. I think those are the key components to these guys, making an actual finals run. Joel Embiid has not been consistent in the playoffs. Ben Simmons having to pick his spots and choose when to be aggressive, and Tobias Harris disappearing. I think those are going to be very vital. And the Utah Jazz and both the Philadelphia Sixers has a lot of competition. We've seen, the Utah Jazz kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? They kind of separated themselves a little bit, and that was a lot to do with injuries on the Western Conference. Starting with the top, we're talking about your team now. We've seen LA Lakers now drop to, they are in 5th place. We're comfortably sitting in 2nd. Not bad. I know we ain't talked in a minute, but I think everybody knows LeBron James, Anthony Davis has both been out. Anthony Davis, Achilles injury, I'm hearing he's close to returning possibly next week. And LeBron James turned his ankle really bad a couple of weeks ago and sprained it. So they've been down to company. No LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and company. It's been just company lately. And I know it's been a struggle for Lakers fans to watch that. I told you I'm really surprised with some of these games to see how bad that they came out. But that has changed as of lately. Yeah. I know you wanted to talk about what was that?
So we've been kind of rolling a little bit.
Yeah. I know you wanted to talk about that Brooklyn Nets win that just happened last week. What was that a turn? Was that the turnaround point for like Lakers fans of like, okay, it's gonna be all right? Did you feel like that too?
Yeah, I mean, it was already a game that's been on the checklist since last year, since their whole situation went down. And getting James Harden made it that much sweeter to want to play him. But then it, got tough. Bron's out, no AD. So we kind of knew like, oh, they're gonna feel good. They're gonna get a little spanking. And we were almost. It was a close game. Kyrie got ejected, and
KD was playing too. That was first game. Yeah. KD's first game back.
KD was playing, and James sat out, but. It was a point. There was points at times where we looked dominant over those guys, and Kyrie going out makes it a little tough. But I'm being clear. Dennis Schroeder was rubbing him at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Schroeder was rubbing him at that time, but taking him out the game still kind of made it tough. But one thing I will say about us is we're an elite defensive team. I like that without LeBron and AD, we're still playing defense at an extremely high level, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's credit to Frank Vogel and Lionel Hollins and those guys, man. That's one thing. I kind of question Frank Vogel, but I will say defensively and offensively, man, he has these guys ready. And we kind of quieted the noise in regards to the Brooklyn Nets, man. A lot of, oh, no LeBron, no AD. Well, we didn't have James and KD. As a Laker fan, I'm not really hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have not just two dudes, we didn't have our two hogs. So as a Nets fan, you kind of should be raising your eyebrows a little bit if you ask me. But
so is the goal, I guess right now, as of while AD and LeBron is gone, is it just to stay above water? And when I say that, I'm saying stay out of that play-in tournament.
Yeah, I think right now it's just about keeping everyone healthy and playing hard, playing together, winning as many games as you can, and like you said, just staying afloat until Bron and AD come back, because you already know once they come back, that's where the heavy lifting is. So everybody right now, there's not no couple guys that's going to heavy lift. It's just got to be kind of a collective team effort right now.
And for everybody listening, when I say that play-in tournament, what will be part of the NBA playoffs this year is 7, 8, 9, 10 will be in the play-in tournament. 7, I think 7 plays 8, and then loser has to play
8, 9.
Yeah, 7, 8 has to play 9. 7, 8 has to play 9, 10 has to play. The loser of 9, 10 is done. The winner has to play the loser of 7, 8 for the 8th spot.
Okay.
So whoever wins the 7, 8, they're good. 8 has to then play 9, 10. You like that?
I don't know, bro.
I thought it was cool at first, but now like we're what's his name? Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
He talked about this in a press conference, and he was saying he didn't like it, and a lot of people were saying, I'm pretty sure he didn't, because the Dallas Mavericks are in that predicament right now, sitting in 7th. But I will say though, I do agree. I don't like it. But I understood why it was implemented, due to the fact that the season was going to be short this year. So kind of give those 9, 10 teams a chance if they were possibly in that predicament with 10 games to go. Yeah, so exactly. Now you pretty much you put that in there, but I don't think that this is something that should go on though. Once the NBA is back to an 82 regular season, I'm not feeling it now.
Yeah, if you're not there, you're not there, man.
Exactly. And that's kind of what Luka was kind of saying.
Yeah, and I get it. It's kind of the college feel, but it's I don't know.
Exactly.
This is the NBA, so yes. If you're ready, you're ready. You had 82 games for that, so
that's all I was saying. Like it was kind of implemented from taken from the COVID from the bubble year. That was cool for the bubble year. I get it, because we missed a lot of teams missed a chunk of games. Kind of brought some excitement back to the NBA after going on a hiatus. So I understood that then. Now that we have regular season, 72 games is more than enough to figure out who the top 8 teams are in each season.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but I mean, like I said, I get it. I understand. But yeah, I'm really not feeling it for like the long-term future.
I agree with you on that.
And then, another thing I wanted to get into a little bit, bro. So over the last 4 weeks now, we've seen some teams who are trying to make playoffs runs lose players to pretty significant injuries. Start with Charlotte Hornets. They lose LaMelo Ball to a broken wrist a month ago, possibly going to be out for the regular season. They're now in 7th. When he got hurt, I think they were in 4th or 5th in the Eastern Conference. And I know a lot of people are saying how pretty much 4th through 8th was a bundle up, and a lot of those guys were only 500 at the time. I don't care. You're a top 8 team in your conference. You're a top 8 team in your conference. Just to see Charlotte, who's been one of the worst teams in the NBA over the last 5 years, you had a rookie lead you to being, one of the top 5 teams in your conference, man. That says a lot. And we all know he was running away with Rookie of the Year at that point. Also, shout out Jalen McDaniels, who's been playing real big boy basketball, ever since.
Hooper right now.
Yeah, man. Federway's finest, Federway Washington, San Diego State.
Get hurt?
PA Washington recently just got hurt.
Okay.
I forget why Jalen was inserted into the starting lineup, but I think it was more about the defense that he was bringing to Charlotte. Okay. But he's been providing scoring punches though lately as well. Yeah. And you can see his grind, bro, and what he's been putting into the game, and has been given back to him lately with the opportunity he's been getting.
Yeah, man. There's being 16, he can shoot it, he can handle it, put it on the floor, create for others, has a high IQ, his motor's always on. I mean, guys like that, man, he's the guy that still has a ceiling, and he's been in the for a couple years. You know what I mean? Like you just never know where those guys can go, and he's somebody that's starting to take that leap and where his game can go. So I'm happy for my Washington brother.
And I don't know when his contract is up, but he's gonna make it real interesting and put a real strain on Charlotte on what they want to do. I'm looking right now. Okay, they locked him in. So he got locked in for 2 more years. Okay. And that's good for Charlotte and that's good for him. He was able to get some guaranteed money. He's able to develop with those guys. And like I said, he's proven that he's worth every penny that they've given him so far. The development has definitely been there with him. So you got Golden State Warriors. They lost James Wiseman to a torn meniscus. They're trying to get into the playing series right now, and he's very big for what they need to do. And then, man, prayers goes out to Jamal Murray, bro.
Nuggets.
Towards ACL last game against Golden State Warriors. And, a lot of people were saying, well, why was he in the game? But pretty much the game was already over with. The NBA don't work like that. You could be down 10, 14 with 2 minutes left. Starters are going to be in the game. But the play, did you see the play?
Yeah, bro. It was
one of those non-contact. Just looks like
I partially tore my meniscus like that. Just nobody was even by me. Just no.
He just came down. It just looked like his knee just gave out.
He grabbed it in the air before he even hit the ground.
Yeah,
he
was yelling.
Yeah, he already knew.
And it's like crazy. Like this whole, with Jamal Murray. So this whole ACL injury, man, it's mainly a basketball injury. But man, I feel like it has spiked like over the last 3-4 years, bro. And luckily where medicine is at and all that, the recovery process for a lot of these guys have been great. A lot of these guys have came back, pretty much have been the same player, especially guards. A lot of them even been more explosive than what they were before.
Yeah.
But man, it's just to see the ACL's a year-long process. Like we might not even see Jamal Murray next year.
Yeah, seriously.
And yeah. And then on top of that, you got all these knick-knack injuries all over the league, bro. Like I was talking to you about this like a week ago. It's like you wake up and you don't know who's gonna be in the lineup any given night. And I guess it sucks to see especially everybody goes back to the fans and fans are buying tickets. Granted, it was a COVID year and, fans are not 100% capacity like it used to or like it was. But, fans are paying to see money. And then like I said, at any given moment, you don't know who's playing. And like I said, you never try to downplay an injury. Like, it doesn't matter if it's anything small. Like, you don't downplay it. That's why, my question to you is do you think a lot of this has to do with the shortened off season for especially a lot of these playoff teams that played last year deep into the bubble and all that? Do you think that had a big? Do you think that's a big reason why we're seeing a lot of these injuries this year?
Yeah, I mean, injuries are, they're part of basketball. They happen, but
True.
When you have a shortened season and you have teams
or off season, my bad,
off season, and you have teams like the Nuggets who went far, the Lakers who went far, and you see their teams have people that are injured, or you know what I mean. Like you definitely pay attention to it, and you see LeBron, and there were some guys that were already fighting to not start when they started because they feel like it's too short. It's too short, and no knock to those guys that's making those decisions, but the guys that are playing basketball, they understand because they know their bodies, so it's definitely, I'm not going to blame it all on it, but it's definitely a difference when you're used to having a full off season rather than having a having a quick turnaround and come back and play again, bro. So you definitely can't say it's something not to pay attention to because you have to.
No, you're right. And there's two sides to it. You got guys who have gotten real injuries. And then, you got the other side with the guys who get the knick-knack injuries or the rest, which is a word that every fan now hates when it comes to watching basketball, and seeing that rest pop up, or seeing these invisible injuries that came out of nowhere pop up. Like for me personally, I just hope like this isn't like the path that the league is going down, where you especially with the second half of the season, you start to see all this rest and players, especially it's young players though, like missing games.
Yeah, that's
like
you should not be resting in your 23.
Yeah. Like I understand, like, you got veterans who 30 plus years old, you give them like a day off here and there. But like I said, you got young guys not playing back to backs or missing a back to back here and there. And I don't know. I personally don't get it, because if you hoop, you hoop. You can't there's no way that you can like stop yourself from getting hurt. Like if it happens, it's gonna happen. Like there's nothing you can do. You can play as many left games as possible. And I know a lot of these guys are trying to get the rest up for playoffs, and that's when the real basketball starts. But like a lot of people say, without fans, there is no NBA. And it just sucks to see, like, when you go to arena or even these national TV games, and you're seeing that Luka Doncic is not playing on a back-to-back night, or I seen Trae Young didn't play today, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not knocking the injury. I'm not saying these guys aren't really hurt or whatever, but I guess we just come from an era where this is not something that we're used to. I try to be the guy who doesn't knock the next era. I'm trying to understand it first.
Right. We're trying to find that balance.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out a way to understand this, and I haven't been able to yet so far. So I know that's been really tough on the league, and I know this is a COVID year, so maybe that had a lot to do with it. And hopefully over the next 2-3 years, we don't see this. But also on the other end, there are some people. Like I said, we have Klay Thompson, who hasn't touched an NBA game for 2 years. Anthony Davis, Achilles is nothing to play with. A lot of people saying the Lakers are taking it, somewhat kind of light. You damn well I'd be too if I'm a general manager or whatever. An Achilles is nothing to play with, and Anthony Davis, where he's at in his career, being in his prime, you don't take that light. And then, LeBron James is 35, 36 years old, and sprained ankle is nothing to play with.
How much PTO do you need?
Facts. So yeah, definitely though, I want to keep an eye though, bro, like on this injury situation, moving forward, seeing how this looks like, hopefully that a lot of these guys take care of their bodies over the off season, and we don't have to deal. I'm just not a big guy. I'm not big on this rest thing and things like that. I'm just not. Like I said, we just come from a different era. Like we usually don't see it unless, like I said, guys that were really hurt or coming off of real life injuries. Then if you hoop though,
it's okay. And it's okay. Like I'm okay if you need it, once every now and then.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But
like I say, you played 7 games in 10 days. I get it.
And you're one of the integral parts, and you're one of the dudes. So your minutes are high. We can give you one, but it can't be a continuous thing, man. Because, like you said, it's as a fan, that hurts the brand. If especially right now, bro, when some arenas not having fans, you're definitely not going to have any ratings if people turn the TV on and the certain guys aren't. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely not a good brand, and we're not used to that brand, which is why it's I know that they're trying to have that balance with giving the guys time off because it's a shortened season versus playing, but the casual fan has to have some impact as well.
Speaking of time off, let's say there's a guy who has gotten unexcused absences, and that's the guy named Kyrie Irving. Another team,
PTO too.
yeah, that's another team who has been riddled with injuries. Kevin Durant, rightfully so, is coming off of a torn Achilles, so understandable. And then also messed up his knee over this season. He was out for a month. James Harden, who usually does not miss games, has been out with a bad hamstring. Hamstrings are nothing to mess with. I understand. But then you got Kyrie Irving, who out of the three has probably been more hurt than all of them, outside of like Kevin Durant messing up his Achilles. He has taken time off, and it's mostly been personal.
Yeah.
And
PTO.
Yeah. And the first time he did it, rightfully so was due to, oh man, what had caused him first? I think I know it was another police shooting. I can't remember who it was though.
It was a police shooting,
he took time off, but the thing was about that, like, so I commend about Kyrie. He does work on and off the court when it comes to his community. He's a great ambassador. Yeah, he doesn't just talk. He doesn't really talk much about it. But you know his actions. But Kyrie Irving took a hiatus, and I was expecting, as me being a huge fan of Kyrie Irving, I was expecting to hear somewhat of a reason why, and we didn't get that when he came back. So now, fast forward, I think Kyrie now has taken 2 more personal leaves again, and I don't know if we're gonna hear a reason why. But like I said, I respect him as a man, but you have a loyalty to your fans who care about you on and off the court to know why you're not playing in these basketball games. Like I said, I don't think fans are trying to be in his business, but at the end of the day, these fans are paying to either watch you, your jerseys, or all that. And
that's what connects you to your stars. You want something that makes you feel connected.
Yeah.
You can't connect to you.
Yeah. And I don't think it's fair. Like I said, to the fans. I'm not talking about the game or the take away the owners, the GMs, and all that shit. We're talking about just straight, the close connection you have is to your fans.
Exactly.
I think he's old. I think the fans are owed that. So he didn't play. Today is Tuesday. They didn't play the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was out for a personal reason. And even just talking about that a little bit, the speculation is there was another police shooting right outside of Minnesota in Brooklyn City. Dante Wright, prayers out to him and his family. Another black man was lost to a police woman this time, and he had no weapons. She said she accidentally picked up her taser. And so on Monday, yesterday, no Minnesota teams played. The Timberwolves didn't play, the Minnesota Twins, and the Minnesota Wild, a hockey team, I believe. And
so Minnesota teams, man.
Yeah, I think that was pretty big. That's at first I kind of didn't understand it in the bubble when they did it, but that's the way that you get a lot of these people's attention, is you take away from their pockets.
Yeah.
You reach the national media and by doing these type of things, and rightfully so. I think all the teams made the right decision. But Kyrie already, I think, was already out due to personal reasons even before this was announced. So the incident happened Sunday afternoon. I think Sunday night was when it came out Kyrie wasn't playing. So like I said, if it's about that, I get it, and I think everybody around him would understand that as too. So I just don't understand, why, keep it to yourself. But if it's anything outside of that, if it's personal, like I said, even if it's just personal, you can say, it's a real life personal matter I'm dealing with. I think that's more than enough for fans. But when he came back last time, it was just like, I'm ready just to get back to basketball. And
that's what scares me now. Is like, when's the next time you're going to just take a couple of days off and not play. Like, what if he does it at one of the worst times?
What if he does it in playoffs?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because clearly he doesn't care. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's tough to come to work as a manager, basketball terms, GM or owner, and then you're like, is this guy even going to come to work? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's
basketball. We know that. Does he even care to come?
Yeah, and there's just the professional aspect that when you decide to sign that contract and play in the NBA, that you have to hold yourself up to as well. Like I said, I'm not saying that these guys are robots. Like I said, that's why I commend all these guys for not playing who didn't play in Minnesota. But like I said, there's a professionalism that I think you still have to stand up to. And it'll be interesting when Kyrie comes back if we'll get some type of explanation.
We ain't got one the last 2 or 3 times.
To find out don't hold my breath.
On Twitter when he comes back, and we'll figure out what the reason was, because he ain't gonna talk to the peasants, aka the media, about it. So,
So with all this going on, so we haven't talked in a minute. So all that going on with Brooklyn, then they go and they get Blake Griffin out of the buyout and LaMarcus Aldridge out of buyout.
And LA.
Yeah. And then they also get back the young boy who I can't even think about. They got him back from injury too as all this was happening.
No, not Spencer Dinwiddie.
No, not Spencer Dinwiddie. They get him back. That's a wrap. I'm calling him champ now. But no, he tore his ACL. Big dude with the dreads. Nick Claxton. Who he has game.
Yeah, he does.
He's been really big.
He played good for them last year before
in the bubble. He did.
Yeah.
So he's been taking up those backup minutes. LaMarcus Aldridge has been plugged into center. DeAndre Jordan really hasn't been in. I don't know if he's been hurt or if he hasn't been in the lineup. But when KD went out, James Harden and Kyrie were rolling. James Harden started to get, been thrusted into the MVP talk. Kyrie Irving, granted, as much as we're talking about this hiatus, he's having one of the best seasons he's had in his career. But I guess the question is now for everybody when it comes to the Nets, and especially after they lost to the Lakers, is we haven't seen the whole crew play together, but such a small sample size.
Everybody's kind of hooped on their kind of own little thing.
And so the question is going to be, can these guys all come together in the playoffs to make a finals run? What are you seeing so far?
I mean, offense definitely gives you the best chance. I mean, not the best chance, but it gives you a great chance to get there. But I don't see the energy and the level that they need to be at defensively to win a championship. That's fair. You let a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, who don't even have 2 stars on the team, you kind of still let them, impose their will on the offensive end. You know what I mean? Like, they're already an elite defensive end, but offensively, what they're doing shouldn't match up to what they're doing with LeBron and AD. So it's just and it's the NBA. So you don't have to be. You could be one of the lower teams, but it's the NBA guys are going to be able to play. And if you're a terrible defensive team, you're a terrible defensive team. So that is what scares me for those guys in the playoffs, is just their defensive level. And
that's fair.
I still feel like they can figure that part out, but it's getting later and later.
And not enough games played with all of them on the floor. And then you add new pieces.
That continuity and that chemistry. Like, the Miami Heat Big Three, you see, they didn't even win it their first year, but at least one thing they got a chance to start with is like continuity, playing together.
They ran into a team though who have real life been together for a while too.
Exactly. That Mavs team had, they didn't have Dirk. They had continuity. They had vets. They had chemistry, and it was a whole well-oiled machine. So,
do you consider Do you consider James Harden in the MVP race this year? I know that's a lot of people have been saying that he's been thrusted in there. You do?
I do. I'm not gonna lie. What he was doing when Kevin Durant and Kyrie were out, it was. I mean, I feel like that's kind of why we had Dame in there, because we kind of looked at what Dame was doing without, Nurk being in the lineup. CJ McCollum was hurt. But what James was doing to keep the team afloat, and not just scoring, but triple doubles, scoring, passing, and rebounding, and that just showed the offensive power and that Brooklyn Nets team has, with Kevin Durant being out, Kyrie was out in Spurs, and James just kind of just took that team over.
I've been more impressed. I've been more impressed with anything with James Harden. I feel like maybe not like your vocal leader, but I feel like he took over a leadership role.
Yep.
Come here, being the playmaker, taking on that role, and making sure that he makes everybody around him better, which is something that he did in Houston. But I think he just took it to another level, knowing that he has more offensive help around him. Has made him more comfortable with playing more of that playmaker role first. And, Kyrie said something about that a few weeks after he came. Is like he told him that he is the point guard of this team. Now it's been really beneficial for Kyrie as well, because we know Kyrie is one of the better scorers in today's NBA. He is a solid playmaker as well, but when we're just talking about flat out scoring the ball, he's hard to guard. And he's been able to do that now freely without the responsibility of really getting anybody else around him involved as well. James Harden can do that, but they got shooters around him, so the paint is wide open, especially for a guy like Kyrie. You're not keeping him outside of it. So you plug that in with, Kevin Durant, who is the best scorer in the NBA, the most efficient scorer in the NBA. And then now, I think everybody was, I don't know, you tell me, bro. I think everybody went a little too wild with like everybody saying how Brooklyn went and got Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. Like these were like the two, like everybody talked about Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge as if they were in their prime still.
Yeah.
And I think people
just the buyout market for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people got to kind of fit the reality. Hopefully they looked at the stats and said that they're both averaging career lows. Yeah. They're both coming from bad teams too. So it's not like they were killing on bad teams. They were playing not the greatest of basketball on bad teams. And the Spurs aren't bad. But he was still one of the better players on that team and averaging career low numbers across the board since his rookie year. And same with Blake Griffin. So these are, people, these are two role players who are in the latter end of their career who are coming over to help. I think LaMarcus Aldridge will be much more of help than Blake Griffin, if you ask me. Yeah. But I don't think that changes the needle.
Buyout market for a reason.
Exactly. I think for me, bro, yes, and I don't know if the Lakers come back healthy when it comes to the playoffs. They're still my favorites. Another team that we haven't gotten to, and I'm kind of on purpose not really trying to give them too much pub, is the Phoenix Suns. I as of right now, I can't hold it in anymore. They're playing great basketball. They literally look like contenders. Yeah. We were just watching them play the Miami Heat, bro. Like to hold a great team as they are to under 90 points or whatever it was. Doing it defensively, I was reading numbers. They've been one of the best offensive teams over the last 2 months. 30-7, bro, since I think like February, like early February. 30-7.
Yeah, you guys have been on a cold run. I ain't gonna lie. I told you I'm a believer now, man. I like everything that's going on.
Like it hasn't hit me yet because it's been so long. It's been so long, and to see the young guys are doing it now. Ever since I become a Phoenix Suns fan, it's been vets, like guys that are already in the midst of their prime. So now seeing the shift of the young guys, and then a couple vets starting to make that leap, but not just go from a leap of being like touching the playoffs to being they were bad to touching the playoffs possibly, and now possibly contenders in the blink of an eye. If Monty Williams does not win Coach of the Year, I don't want to hear no other option.
Yeah.
Like all those other guys have talent, like real life talent.
Sleeping on Monty.
Yeah, there's no reason why Monty Williams isn't running away with Coach of the Year right now. You're taking a team who, for the last 8 years, have been terrible, and with the help of Chris Paul, I mean, yeah, they've turned into 1.5 games outside of Utah Jazz for the best record in the NBA.
Yeah.
And I can't say I don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. I will say that there's no way that they don't. I know that they'll get out the first round. But I think if they don't make it out the first round, it's a disappointment. But I can't see it just with how they play. I don't know, but I also can't fathom them. I can't see them. And this is me being honest, seeing the Clippers or Lakers for 7 games is a really scary thought. I'm not really scared. Just like you talked about earlier, I'm not really scared of Utah, bro. There's no fear in me when we talk about them. And then now with the Denver Nuggets losing Jamal Murray, I mean, there's only so much Jokic can do. I don't know who's going to be that second guy for them now. Maybe Michael Porter, possibly in a bigger role. Maybe we'll see some vintage. Oh man, who's the other wing there? Will Barton. Maybe we'll see him take a bigger role.
Aaron Gordon's there as well now.
Aaron Gordon now is there as well. He has to play a bigger role now. So it's gonna be interesting in that West. But for me, as much as I love my Suns, I think the West still is gonna come out. Everything has to go through both LAs, but more certainly the LA Lakers. But the LA Clippers have been playing better basketball. Picked up Rajon Rondo. How you feel about that?
That was a good pickup, man. Hurts to see him go to the other LA team and jumpstart those guys, man, because you know what he brings, man. Forget playoff Rondo, just Rondo in general. He breathes life in the team. So just seeing him be a leader and because he's something that they actually need. He's not just there. They actually need his services. So he's going to be able to make Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, guys like that, make their job extremely easier.
And PG's, already said that. And then, yeah, we touched on a little bit. The MVP race, it started to heat up until we lost James Harden and then before that lost Joel Embiid. Yeah. I think we all thought it was a kind of a 4-player race. LeBron James, James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. And now Jokic played every game, putting up career numbers across the board. His team has been playing much better over the last 2 months after how they got off to a subpar start. Now sitting in 4th place, 34-20. Joel Embiid missed about a few weeks. Same LeBron James, James Harden now as well. I mean, is he running away with it now?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's running away with it. I mean, it's tough because how he plays sometimes is not the sexiest because it's low base and it's
no athleticism.
Yeah, no athleticism.
And jump over love for bread.
Yeah, extremely skilled, but he's a fun to watch and he has a team winning and that's one of those guys where you look at and say every time he steps on the floor, does he give his team a chance to win? And he does that and some. So I definitely think Jokic is the front runner right now for the MVP. Some of those guys could be up there, but I think, like you said, because of injuries or something, it kind of takes a dip back.
Facts. You got hoopers and you got basketball players, and I think Nikola Jokic is a basketball player.
Shout out Joel Hampton on Last Chance U, man, the basketball version. That was
and he did say that.
There's a difference.
I'm a hooper. And that's facts. And it's funny too. I wanted to get into that. I know we're not gonna have time, but then I think that's something that I want to touch upon. Next time we're on here, I want to talk about first the difference between hoopers, basketball players, and I want to talk about who you think are like the top hoopers you've ever seen. But we'll have time to get into that another time, man.
We'll definitely get into that.
Yeah, man. Hoop Narrative Podcast, man. Like I said, me and bro want to get into the stew for you
This is
guys.
good, bro. This is good, man.
Man, yeah.
Man, cook it up.
And we probably definitely gonna do this one more time before the playoffs start. We're gonna give y'all a rundown on that. In between time, though, like I said, we'll definitely have guests. Like you said, keep an eye on the NBA season. AAU hoops coming up. High school basketball in Seattle, Washington. I'm pretty sure a lot of else around the country. You got high school basketball, but then, like I said, summer AAU. We're definitely gonna be touching up on that as well, as that's coming up real soon. Shout out Seattle Rotary, EYBL program out of Seattle, Washington. You will see them on the move in the EYBL this year. So yeah, man, it's great to see basketball back full fledged across the country. Like I said, man, we got a lot of things shaking, man. Hoop Narrative Podcast, man. Any other quick words, bro, before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Just getting ready for this gruesome season, man, and getting ready to coach with the Rotary. Do my high school season. Like you said, I'm just glad basketball's getting full swing and seeing these kids get an opportunity at, not just basketball, but get better at life, man. Because
Facts.
I feel like life was kind of on hold.
No, facts. Like I said, I think this summer, man. I mean, a lot of people talking about they're ready to go outside, but
Shout out my boy Hot Bread.
But I think also too, it's gonna be really good, man, to see these gyms opening back up, seeing fans being able to get back in the gym on all levels to be able to watch. You already know game one. I'm the Phoenix, bro. Let me know if you're ready to pull up. I'm gonna go watch the game.
Yeah, but I already know you've been saying that I need to get out there. When the playoffs start?
I want to say end of May. I'll get that date for you, but
because we'll be done with the season June 1st. I think it's the last game. So
yes, sir. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, for my bro, Fredro, OT, like I said, Hoop Narrative Podcast. Check us out, subscribe on all platforms. Like I said, we're gonna get some special guests to you guys real soon, man. We're gonna get out of here, man. We are gonna go pay some bills, man. We gotta take ourselves to sleep, man. You don't even want to know. I think this might be the latest we recorded, huh?
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to say it's this one, or was the Clint Parks later than this? No.
Nah, I don't think so. Or no, I'm gonna say or Mall, but yeah, I don't think they went into this late.
Yeah, this is definitely probably the latest. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes, sir, man. Anybody listening to, shout us out, man. Comment, let us know who you want to listen to, man. But yeah, it's your boy OT.
And I'm Fred Joe, man.
Hoop Narrative, man. We out.